Good morning, everybody. Monday, August 26, 2019. Hope your Monday's off to a fantabulous start. Boy, I'm sure enjoying the cooler weather here on the Rancho. Considering the hot summer that I have endured, it has really been a pleasure to be back and see Missy Jenn and enjoy the Rancho again. I wanted to give people an update on my life, particularly as it relates to a van build and relating that to other things that are going on. And it's also a matter of talking about priorities here. You know, I don't want to give anyone the impression that doing a van build is a top priority of what goes on here on the Rancho. My priorities have always been the people in my life, as well, and particularly Missy Jenn and here on the Rancho, and particularly things that relate to her health. Also, at the risk of sounding somewhat selfish, my travel plans also trump everything else. I paid my dues, I worked 46 years, and I am in retirement now. And as such, I think I'm pushing myself a little higher in terms of looking after my needs, particularly as I'm a bit older here. I've taken care of my responsibilities in life. I feel good about myself. I feel good about where I stand in my life now, the things I've accomplished, the things I've helped other people accomplish. So I'm not going to have my quote-unquote golden years. They're not quite here yet. But my golden years consume with things that aren't going to fulfill me as a person. It may sound a little bit selfish, but like I say, 46 years is a lot of time to punch the clocks, pound the floor at 5 a.m. It's been a heck of a journey. Missy Jenn, as I mentioned, remains my top priority. Also, my travels in the month of September. And I have to say straight out, I'm perfectly willing to help with a van rebuild. But what I'm not going to do is push that to the top of my agenda. I'm going to put myself and Missy Jenn first. Specifically, that means Missy Jenn has an infusion for her MS therapy coming up in October. It's my number one priority to make sure that she's taken to her infusion and has that week to recover so that I can keep an eye on her and make sure that she is good and stable. That's going to be sometime in the beginning of October. After that, I have a meetup with, there's going to be a meetup with Line Screw in sometime in mid-October in Las Vegas. I'm really looking forward to that and looking forward to seeing who else is going to be there taking my van down. And maybe this time being able to boondock, maybe not. You know, I can always nail a cheap hotel. But here it is, the end of August. That's quite a difference. And I really can't realistically think about having and turning my attention to a van build until the latter part of October. Number one, it's cooler here in the daytime to do the work. And number two, as I've mentioned in the outline, I do have my priorities. Any van build has to fit around my schedule. Now, as far as Elvis may be concerned, yes, he's a friend, but he has to understand that I do this out of goodness and out of friendship, but it does not mean that I can push any type of van build to a top priority. As I mentioned, too, there's funding that's involved and monies that are going to be involved, and I don't have any intention of dipping into my own monies that I'm guarding very carefully for travel. I don't have a big travel budget. I have to make do. And I can't stretch any of it over to a van build. It's not my responsibility to do that. Okay, that is, that's Elvis's responsibility, and it will remain so. I also want to, over the next weeks and into October, I will also expect to be on the road in Southern California traveling. I cannot be responsible for other people's accommodations, other people's Problems boondocking. I just know myself, I anticipate very little problem when it comes to boondocking because of the van that I have. And that's the way I like it. I specifically bought it with stealth in mind, number one, knowing that it's perfectly suited for especially the urban California environments where parking is brutal and RVers aren't particularly welcome. I also talked a bit about I want to do some metal detecting. I want to get back into the shop. Those are my priorities too. I want to do some gun range videos. I want to do some more cooking videos. I want to concentrate on diet and exercise to a much greater degree than I have been to get myself into the most incredibly tip-top shape that I can be over the next week. That means focusing on myself, focusing on my travels, and I'm a very goal-oriented person. So let's just get it straight what the timeline is. And before I'm able to really do a van build, yes, I'm able to hang out. But understand I have a lot of competing priorities. I have a lot of competing interests. And I'm doing things on the channel that will be of interest to people, as they have for years on here, that keep people engaged on the daily basis, particularly getting back into the vintage audio restoration stuff. That really has become a backbone of the channel, and maybe some other projects here on the Rancho too. But travel, of course, is a high priority. But I have to mold that around the realities of people. People first, and then things. You know, the old Susie Orman philosophy, and I certainly agree with that. So it's my life, my priorities. And I'm going to put myself and some other people too at the head of the line. All right. I want to thank you guys for being on the channel as usual as we transition from the Las Vegas trip. I know there's not been a lot of content on the Rosie O'Kelly channel. I've been using the Rosie Murphy channel for the most part. And if you're not subscribed to that, and the Rosie McNamara channels, the more adult-rated frankly speaking, content about my life as enjoying it, in a more adult sense. But I've been using the Rosie Murphy channel to really fine-tune Streamlabs, and it's really been working out well. 3 channels, triple fun. Make sure you're subscribed to all of them. The Rosie O'Kelly channel here, the Rosie Murphy channel, and the Rosie McNamara channel. Remember, priorities, priorities, priorities. Thanks, everybody.